You know what the most expensive thing in your life is. It is not your house. It is not your car. It is not that fancy degree hanging on your wall. The most expensive thing you will ever own is the time you wasted waiting for the perfect moment that never came. And here is the truth that most people will never accept. While you were sitting there waiting for permission, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting for someone to tell you that you are ready, somebody else with half your talent and half your resources went out there and took what could have been yours. They did not wait. They started. And now you are watching their success, wondering what they have that you do not. Let me tell you what they have. They have the understanding that waiting is not preparation. Waiting is not patience. Waiting, my friend, is just fear wearing a nice suit, pretending to be wisdom. I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I am about to share with you might just be the conversation that changes everything. Not because I have some magic formula or some secret nobody else knows, but because sometimes we need someone to look us in the eye and tell us what we already know deep down, but refuse to admit to ourselves. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. How many times have you told yourself that you will start on Monday? How many New Years have passed where you made the same promise you made the year before? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you convinced yourself that tomorrow would be a better day to begin? We have all done it. I have done it. I spent years of my life perfecting the art of waiting. I was so good at waiting that I could justify any delay. I could turn any excuse into a philosophy. I told myself I was being strategic. I told myself I was being careful. But the truth was I was just scared. Scared of failing. Scared of looking foolish. Scared of what people might say if I tried and did not succeed. But here is what I learned the hard way. The people who actually win in life, the ones who build something meaningful, the ones who wake up excited about their days, they are not the ones without fear. They are the ones who decided that their dreams were bigger than their fears. They made a choice, and that choice was simple. They chose to start before they were ready. Think about a farmer for a moment. A farmer does not wait until the weather is perfect to plant seeds. He knows that there will never be a perfect season. There will always be some clouds on the horizon. There will always be some uncertainty about the rain. But he plants anyway. He plants because he understands something that most people never grasp. You cannot harvest what you do not plant. And you cannot plant what you keep holding in your hand waiting for perfect conditions. The farmer trusts the process. He trusts that if he does his part, nature will do the rest. But nothing starts until that seed goes into the ground. Your dreams are those seeds. Your actions are the planting. And the life you want is the harvest that is waiting for you on the other side of your fear. But you have to start. You have to put that seed in the ground even when you are not sure it will grow. Because here is the beautiful thing about starting. The moment you take that first step, something shifts inside you. You stop being a spectator of your own life and you become a participant. You stop watching from the sidelines and you get into the game. And once you are in the game, everything changes. I remember years ago, I met a man who had built an incredible business from nothing. I asked him what his secret was. I expected him to give me some complicated strategy, some detailed plan, some blueprint I could follow, but you know what he told me? He said the secret was that he started before. He figured it out. He said he did not have a perfect plan. He did not have all the answers. He did not even know if it was going to work, but he started anyway. And every single day he figured out a little bit more. He learned from his mistakes. He adjusted his approach. He kept moving forward even when the path was not clear. And eventually, that forward movement created its own momentum. Success, he told me, is not about having everything figured out. Success is about being willing to figure it out as you go. That conversation changed my life because I realized that I had been approaching everything backwards. I was waiting to feel confident before I took action. But confidence does not come before action. Confidence comes from action. You do not become brave and then face your fears. You face your fears, and that is what makes you brave. You do not become skilled and then start working. You start working, and that is what makes you skilled. The doing comes first. The feeling comes after. Think about a child learning to walk. That child does not sit there analyzing the physics of balance. That child does not wait until she has mastered the theory of movement. She just stands up and tries, and she falls. And she gets up and tries again, and she falls again. And she keeps trying until one day she takes a step, and then another, and then she is running. She did not wait until she was ready. She became ready by starting. Somewhere along the way we forgot this. We became adults and we started believing that we needed permission. We needed certainty. We needed guarantees. But life does not offer guarantees. Life offers opportunities. And opportunities do not wait for you to be ready. They come when they come. And if you are not willing to grab them, they move on to someone who is. Let me share something with you that took me a long time to understand. Every single person who has achieved something remarkable started exactly where you are right now. They had doubts. They had fears. They had people telling them it would not work. They had moments where they wanted to give up before they even began. But the difference between them and the millions who stayed stuck is simply this. They started anyway. They decided that the pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change. They decided that regret was worse than rejection. They decided that a life of wondering what if was more terrifying than a life of finding out. And I want you to think about something. Think about the person you could become if you stopped waiting. Think about what your life could look like 1 year from now if you started today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you have more money or more time or more support. Today. This very moment. What could change if you just decided that waiting was no longer an option? You see, most people overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a year. They want instant results, so they do nothing, because nothing seems big enough. But those small actions, those tiny steps that seem insignificant, they compound over time. 1 page a day becomes a book in a year. 1 workout a day becomes a transformed body in a year. 1 conversation a day becomes a network of relationships that can change your career. Small things become big things if you just stay consistent. But it all starts with that first small thing. It all starts with that first step that you keep putting off. There is a story I love about a man who wanted to move a mountain. Everyone told him it was impossible. They laughed at him. They said he was foolish for even trying. But every single day he went out with his shovel and he moved a little bit of dirt. Day after day, week after week, year after year. His neighbors thought he was crazy, but he kept going. And you know what happened? He never moved that mountain alone, but his dedication inspired others to join him. His commitment attracted help he never expected, and eventually that mountain was moved. Not by one grand heroic effort, but by the accumulation of small consistent actions over time. That is how change happens. That is how dreams are built. Not in one dramatic moment, but in the quiet daily choices to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when you cannot see the top of the mountain. But here is where most people fail. They start with enthusiasm and they quit when it gets hard. They begin with motivation and they stop when the motivation fades. And let me tell you something about motivation. Motivation is wonderful. It is that spark that gets you going. But motivation will not be there every day. Some days you will wake up and you will not feel like doing the work. Some days the doubts will be louder than the dreams. Some days you will want to go back to sleep and forget you ever wanted more. And in those moments, motivation will not save you. What will save you is discipline. What will save you is the decision you made when you were motivated that you would keep going even when you were not. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you do not feel like doing it. Discipline is honoring your future self even when your present self wants to take the easy road. Discipline is understanding that feelings come and go, but commitment remains. And if you wait until you feel like doing something, you will be waiting forever. Because there will always be something easier to do. There will always be a distraction. There will always be a reason to postpone. But the winners in life are not the ones who feel like doing the work. They are the ones who do the work anyway. I want to talk to you for a moment about the cost of waiting. Because there is a cost. Every day you wait is a day you will never get back. Every opportunity you let pass is an opportunity that may never return. And every version of yourself that you could have become stays locked away in the prison of someday. Someday is not a day of the week. Someday is a thief that steals your potential one excuse at a time. And here is what makes it worse. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Because waiting creates its own momentum. Inaction becomes a habit. Procrastination becomes comfortable. And that comfort zone that feels so safe, it is not safe at all. It is a trap. It is a cage with invisible bars. You can leave any time you want, but you convince yourself that you cannot. You convince yourself that the time is not right, that you need more preparation, that you will do it eventually, and years pass, and you are still in the same place making the same excuses, wondering why nothing ever changes. I want you to imagine yourself 10 years from now. Picture yourself looking back at this moment. What would that future version of you want you to do? Would they want you to keep waiting? Would they want you to play it safe? Would they want you to let fear make your decisions? Or would they want you to take that leap? Would they want you to bet on yourself? Would they want you to start the journey that leads to the life you have always wanted? You know the answer. We always know the answer. The challenge is finding the courage to act on what we know. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew. She had a dream of starting her own business. She had the skills. She had the ideas. She had everything she needed except the belief that she could do it. So she waited. She waited for the economy to improve. She waited for her kids to get older. She waited for her spouse to be more supportive. She waited and waited and waited. And then one day she got sick. Not terribly sick, but sick enough to make her think about her life differently. She realized that all those years of waiting had not protected her from anything. Life still happened. The unexpected still came. But she had spent all that time preparing for a future that was never guaranteed while ignoring the present that was right in front of her. She started her business from her hospital bed with a laptop and a phone and a determination she did not know she had. It was messy. It was imperfect. It was nothing like she had planned. But she started. And that start changed everything. Within 2 years, she had built something remarkable. Not because she had more resources than before, but because she finally stopped waiting for life to give her permission to live. That story is not unique. There are countless people who had to face their mortality before they realized that waiting was the real risk. But you do not have to wait for a crisis to wake you up. You can wake yourself up right now. You can decide today that you are done being a spectator. You can decide today that your dreams matter enough to pursue them imperfectly. And I want to address something that might be running through your mind right now. You might be thinking that your situation is different, that you have real obstacles, real limitations, real responsibilities that prevent you from taking action. And I hear you. I am not dismissing what you are facing, but I want you to consider this. There has never been a perfect time to do anything meaningful. Every generation has faced challenges. Every dreamer has encountered obstacles. The difference is that some people use their circumstances as an excuse and others use them as fuel. The obstacles are real, the limitations exist, but so does your ability to work around them. So does your creativity. So does your resilience. You are more capable than you give yourself credit for. Stop looking at what you do not have and start using what you do have. Stop focusing on the closed doors and start looking for the open windows. Stop telling yourself that you cannot and start asking yourself how you can. Because the moment you change your questions, you change your answers. And the moment you change your answers, you change your life. I want to leave you with something to carry with you. Something I want you to remember when the doubts creep in. When the fear whispers that you should wait just a little longer. The world does not reward those who wait. The world rewards those who act. The world does not remember those who planned perfectly. The world remembers those who executed imperfectly but relentlessly. Your story is not going to write itself. Your dreams are not going to chase you. You have to be the author. You have to be the pursuer. You have to be the one who decides that enough is enough. Starting is not easy. I will never tell you it is easy. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when you question everything. But those moments are not signs that you should stop. They are signs that you are growing. They are signs that you are stretching beyond who you used to be. And on the other side of that discomfort is a version of yourself you have not met yet. A stronger version, a wiser version, a version that looks back at this moment and feels nothing but gratitude that you finally decided to begin. You have waited long enough. You have prepared enough. You have thought about it enough. Now it is time to move. Not tomorrow, not when the circumstances align. Now, take that first step today. Make that phone call you have been avoiding. Write that first page, send that message. Apply for that opportunity, start that project. Whatever it is that you have been putting off, do it today. Because the truth is you are ready. You have always been ready. You just needed someone to remind you that waiting is not a strategy. Waiting is surrender. And you are not someone who surrenders. You are someone who fights for what they want. You are someone who takes what life offers and makes something beautiful out of it. You are someone who starts before they are ready and figures it out along the way. This is your moment. Not someday. Not eventually today. Right now. Stop waiting. Start winning. And watch what happens when you finally bet on yourself.